Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. For this video, I'll be discussing several things from episode 5 of season 15 Naked and Afraid. I'll be talking about the 2 survivalists that'll be participating in the challenge. I'll talk about the challenge location, and I'll also talk about how I felt these 2 survivalists did as a team. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. The 2 survivalists for this challenge are Jacqueline and Michael. Jacqueline is a criminal defense paralegal who knows how to build shelters and start fires, but she's coming into the experience having no hunting experience, as well as having a reluctance towards killing animals. Michael is a fisherman who's coming into the challenge with minimal survival skills. Now, prior to watching the episode, I really didn't know much about Michael, but Jacqueline, however, looked very familiar. I was asking myself where I might have seen Jacqueline before, and then it hit me. Jacqueline was on season 4 of the A&E show 60 Days In. If you haven't seen the show, then just know that it's about a group of ordinary citizens who voluntarily go undercover at a jail for 60 days just to be an informant for the sheriff. Jacqueline was one of those participants, but she tapped out because one of her fellow cast members compromised her safety. So naturally, when I started to connect the dots, I wondered if Jacqueline would make it through this challenge. So the challenge location for this episode is the Kalahari Desert in Africa. And just like with other deserts, the daytimes are normally hot and the night times are normally cold. In my opinion, when it comes to the locations for this season of Naked and Afraid, I think that if you take away the cold winds that were prevalent for most of this challenge, this location would have been the easiest by far. Sure, Jacqueline and Michael came across several animals while completing the challenge. However, those who watch Naked and Afraid know that the producers would never let any cast member get attacked or killed by a wild animal. It's bad for business. And that's not to say that any of these challenges are easy. But in my opinion, Jacqueline and Michael definitely had the necessary skills to gather enough water and food to make it to the end of the challenge without any significant issues. However, what could go wrong definitely did go wrong. Now, when it comes to how Jacqueline and Michael did as a team, I will say that in the very beginning, they were a very solid team and they had great chemistry. You see, when everything seemed to be going their favor, they were mighty friendly towards each other. The conversation was upbeat, and they even made a pact to stick together no matter what. But once that hunger and cold set in, it didn't take much for Jacqueline and Michael to turn on each other. And I think what it all boiled down to was Jacqueline and Michael having completely different methods for handling adversity. In the very beginning, Michael said that he needed a partner that was mentally strong and that had his back. And towards the middle of the challenge, Michael said that he was doing this challenge just for himself and nobody else. In my opinion, someone like Michael could be a very valuable asset to a challenge like this if they have the right person along with them. However, Jacqueline had her issues early on, and she failed to show Michael that she was mentally strong. In fairness, I think that Michael needed a partner who was mentally strong because he recognized his own shortcomings, such as his unwillingness to kill an animal in order to survive. When I saw him holding that bird that he caught, I was wondering if he was going to fry or bake the bird. But him sitting there petting the bird and reciting some sort of soliloquy, the bird ultimately lost patience and he flew away. The scene reminded me of those classic movies where the villain captures the hero, but the villain spends too much time talking, which allows the hero enough time to escape. Now, when it came to Michael tapping out, I think this tap out was more about a frustration with being partnered with Jacqueline than it was due to the cold weather. Production broke down and gave Jacqueline and Michael an animal hide to keep them warm, so I'm sure that production would have done a lot more to keep them happy as long as they stayed on the show. Now, I was very proud of Jacqueline for making it to the end of the challenge by herself, but I also think that Michael could have made it to the end of the challenge himself if he wanted to stay. So overall, Jacqueline and Michael were bad as a team, but they weren't the worst of the season. But after watching this episode, I would have to give it a B+. While I wasn't too thrilled with how the episode ended, I did have some hesitation for how the 2 survivalists would do on the challenge, and I can honestly say that Jacqueline exceeded my expectations. I thought for sure that she would tap out, but she didn't. But this marks the end of my review. I love comments, so please leave all comments below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.